Hi everyone, this is Juliet here at Healing Water Sanctuary here in Glastonbury. How are you all doing? I hope you're okay, hope you're all well. Well, let me see who's joining us today. Hopefully somebody will join. So I'm here to talk about the Outsiders Support Network, the Outsiders Social Support Network. And you may have heard about it, or you may not have heard about it yet. So this is what I'm going to tell you about. I'm just fiddling around with my screen here, just trying to, get it sorted. So Jill was going to turn up on the call today with me because Jill and I are running this social network, support network, and unfortunately, she has got a cold, so she can't. She said she's losing her voice at this moment, so not very well aspected for talking about a support network. So hopefully some of you will jump on, and whilst I'm just waiting, I'm just going to check if we're going live on the different channels. Yes. So I'm not terribly tech savvy, so just hoping that's all going to work. My internet's a bit slow tonight. For some reason, Facebook isn't working. Strange. So, if Facebook's not working, then no doubt you can see me, but I can't see you. So let me just see if it's working on LinkedIn. Yeah. Okay, so I'm working on LinkedIn and on Facebook. That's not happening right at this moment. I wonder why that is. Anyway, so if you can't find me on Facebook, if you can come on over to YouTube, my wonderful Abigail, beautiful. Abigail, thank you. Abigail, are you watching on YouTube or are you watching on Facebook? If you could just let me know, that would be helpful. So I'm trying to keep vibrations high. So on the readings, Pam Gregory readings for October is talking about what a very challenging month October is going to be and the importance for us to keep our vibrations high at the moment. So I have these lovely flowers in the garden. They look like sunflowers, but what they actually are they're Jerusalem artichokes. You're in YouTube, Abigail. Wonderful. So yeah, I just can't tell whether anybody's seeing me at this moment on Facebook. So I guess they are. I can't even open it on my computer right now. Let me try again. No, it just says the site can't be reached. Maybe it's down. Who knows? So yeah, non-attachment is really important at this point in time. So in the garden, there's like most of the things are dying back now. We've still got lots of vegetables. Most of the flowers are dying back. But what we do have are these amazing, they are like 9 or 10 foot high plants, and they are Jerusalem artichokes. And they've just started flowering with these beautiful flowers, just like huge. Each plant has a huge amount of these beautiful, lovely yellow flowers. So I thought, to keep my vibration high, I'm just going to put it in here. Just put it there. Cheer myself up, and we have. So Abigail is here. Oh, you watch Pam Gregory? Yes. Yes, she said it's going to be a very intense month. There's lots of strong squares. I don't understand astrology. Lots of strong squares happening, lots of tensions, and it was like the ascension energy was really, really building, and it was really challenging, and it was stopping her sleeping at night. making her feel really wound up. So I'm just wondering how you're all feeling. I know it's felt a strange day to me. It's like quite grey. It's starting to rain right now. Yeah, you've forgotten to watch her videos. Yeah, it's raining. I can see you on YouTube. I'm having problems with Facebook. Aha. Thank you for letting me know that. So I guess it'll be recorded on Facebook, fingers crossed, even if it doesn't turn up. So 2 hurdles. It's like the secret of success is never give up, no matter what is going on. If it feels really difficult, just don't give up. Just keep doing it again. Keep resourcing yourself and keep trying again. So we're all being massively challenged at this point in time, aren't we? It's like everything that's happening seems to be designed deliberately to crush us, to squash us, to destabilize us, to particularly destabilize us around our social connections, our feeling safe with each other, our feeling of being in community, all those things that are affecting, just like our homes, the way we relate, the way we have communities. What's Abigail saying? Yeah, having a hard time at the moment. What's happened to your eye, Abigail? Really sorry to hear that. Yeah, I think lots of us are having really, really hard times. I seem to spend most of the time today messaging people, talking to people that are going through like really deep emotional crises, really, there's the physical things and then there are the emotional things. And as the physical problems coming up, like not being able to go where we want to go, or not being able to earn enough money, or being threatened with our jobs, then that has a psychological and emotional repercussion, doesn't it? So it's how do we keep our spirits up? You have some sort of a cyst. Yes, that can be painful. I'm just thinking, what is... Yeah, there are things, natural remedies out there, especially for eyes. Sometimes we get cysts in the eyes when we're really tired, when we're really exhausted. I wonder if that's something that's happening for you. So we have here, Teapot Pixie, there was no fuel crisis. Then the government said there was a fuel crisis. People panicked and bought loads. Now there's a fuel crisis. No problem, reaction, solution. That's right. That's what they told us, isn't it? That's what David Icke talks about a lot. Problem, reaction, the way that we get driven with these false flags, all designed to pressure us. So it's like, how do we do what Pam Gregory suggests and keep our energies up? How do we raise our vibrations? Even though it's like we're being slammed left, right, and centre, we don't know what's coming next. There's this incredible unpredictability going on, and that makes us really insecure, doesn't it? It makes us really stressed. We don't know, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if we're going to have our lives threatened in some way. We don't know if someone we talk to is going to fall out with us. So this is why we set up the support network. It was specifically about this falling out within families, this when we're being presented with these different ideas and when we're being influenced in our minds. Abigail's just saying they were asking, they're wanting to, what's that? They're wanting to, oh yeah, they want to get rid of the fuel. Well, that's a thought, isn't it? It's like, are they trying to get rid of the fuel because they're moving us forward in the Great Reset? And they want us in this green agenda. Is that what's happening? Or are they doing it to take our eyes off what's actually going on? So what is it that's going on at the moment that they might not want us to see? So there's two things that's happening. One is the pass, that's being pushed through to segregate us from each other. And that's already been pushed through in France, I believe in Israel, I believe in Australia. So that's been pushed through in lots of places, maybe in Canada. And it's either on the books or it's going through, going through the steps it takes to make it into a law. And the other thing is the mandated rollout of jabbing for our children. I mean, that's massive, isn't it? And people are really, really distressed about this at the moment as children are going back to school. Then they're being coerced, manipulated without their parents' consent to be jabbed. So this is another thing that can cause conflict in a family, can't it? It's like if you are a parent and you believe that these jabs are beneficial, if you actually believe in that whole mind control and that propaganda that's coming out of the public, out of the media, if you believe in that and you're a parent in a family, then your other parent, your partner doesn't believe in, then that's a source of conflict. Just the same as if you are in a family and one of your family members, your mother, your partner, have been jabbed yourself. Or maybe one of your family members are so frightened at this point in time, and I've seen people absolutely terrified. They're so frightened that they might catch this so-called illness that they're actually going along with these passes that they're trying to push on us. My own mother told me a few weeks ago that she thought it was absolutely right that people should be prevented from getting food if they don't go along with it. So where does that leave me? You know, how do I relate to my mother? I mean, that's so harsh. How do families cope with this kind of propaganda that's been pushed out on them, and you can feel really, really alone. You can feel, I'm lucky here because I have a lot of people that I talk to, but if you're part of that, Ina says, hi Ina, Facebook is down. Interesting. So hopefully more people know. Can you share it? Can you, if you're able to? I don't know how you can share it if Facebook is down, that we're here on YouTube. So Teapot Pixie says, some parents are distressed that their 11-year-olds can't get their needlework yet. Oh dear, yeah, that's right, isn't it? It's absolutely terrifying that some parents are totally distressed. They think it's right. Yeah. It's like beyond words, really, what's going on. And how do we cope with that intensity? How do we keep our vibrations high when we're actually in this nightmarish situation? How do we keep another reality in mind? So, yeah, just pop that up. And Teapot Pixie also says, thank goodness my son is not in school anymore. I'd be homeschooling because of the agendas they're trying to push. Yeah. Thank you, Ina, for sharing as widely as you can. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, both of you. But you have an opportunity to share afterwards as well. So, you know, the intention, we're talking about these things, and I'm trying to highlight some of the things that is causing conflict between friends and family. Does that happen to you? Are you in conflict with any of your family members or any of your close friends? Because from what I've listened to over this last 2 years, 18 months, is that people are falling out with each other. There's huge, you know, it's really hard when you love someone, you're really close to them, and then they are absolutely buying into this agenda, which you know from all the research you've done that it's absolutely false. It's a totally false narrative, and you can't do anything to change their minds. I mean, it's way too late now to try and change people's minds. So how do you live with the fact that you're witnessing? If you're tuning in, if you're researching and you're tuning in and you're seeing all the data and you're witnessing all the court cases that are happening around the world, there are thousands and thousands of people now, hundreds of thousands of people that have been very seriously injured or killed at this point in time. It's absolutely heartbreaking. It's like, how do you cope with the fact that you can't share that with your family, or you can't share that with a close friend? So Teapot says that she's fed up with it all. Yeah, I'm feeling a bit like that. It's really hard, isn't it, to keep the vibration high when you're absolutely fed up and there's this kind of pressure, this heaviness all the time, even without looking at anything. It's almost like you can sense it. And as Pam Gregory said, that the actual energies are very intense. It's not just what's rolling out in the physical realm, but it's the energies, the astrology that is really intense. And like maybe there's some kind of divine plan or whatever, who knows, but like we're being pushed in some way to actually up our vibration, to be able to live through this, to refine ourselves, to refine our consciousness, and to stay in gratitude for life, to stay in gratitude for our loved ones, even if they seem to be, absolutely not understanding what we're seeing, or opposed, or actively, like my mother, actively aggressive. Now, how can we stay in a good frame and stay in a feeling of love and appreciation and care and compassion and tenderness for everyone? How can we see through what's going on and actually witness that those people as well, our loved ones, are actually victims, the same as we are, collateral damage. They're victims in what's going on. So Teapot Pixie says, my close family are beginning to question, but they're all socialists bordering on communism. Yeah, that's right. We've had decades of conditioning, haven't we? We've had this infiltration into our schools and into our universities, all moving towards this great reset, this global agenda. It's been very, very, very thought through and planned a very long way in advance. So people are already very mind controlled with that. And Abigail says, Juliet, I cannot say anything in my knitting group. It's getting me out of the house as I'm a carer. Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. There are some places where you absolutely can't say anything, and maybe it's not about saying anything there. But do you know around you, on the good side of this is that there's thousands and thousands of people meeting up now and talking about it and forming groups and doing things. So when we say trust the plan, it doesn't mean sitting back and just trusting the plan, just trusting that something divinely is going to unfold and there's going to be a savior galloping in on a white charger. It means that we are part of this plan and that there are things that we can do to actually bring it to people's mind. So I was watching a discussion with a psychologist recently talking about totalitarian states, and he said that the quickest way to topple a totalitarian state was to make sure that you get your voices out there. And it might not be that you're talking to those people who are totally fixated on the other side, but maybe it's by sending letters to the schools, it's by meeting and discussing and processing your feelings, by supporting each other. There's many, many things that we can do to lend a voice to what's going on and naming the evil that's happening. And Ina says, made loads of new friends. Okay, the Stand in the Park movement. I mean, that's huge, isn't it now? The Stand in the Park movement and the groups with the yellow boards. It's like, can we actively look for these things and join up? And I know here in my local community, there are hundreds of people now joining up. So it's quite hopeful, isn't it? So when you think about these things, then that does lift the spirit, doesn't it? It does lift the emotions when we can do that. Yeah, so let's all connect and support each other. Yeah, that's great. So the more we can do that, the more we can find a voice and support each other. It's really important. So that's the idea. My flower keeps dropping out, but that's the idea of the social support network. So let me explain a little bit about it again. I will put underneath this video the link for the Facebook page. And because we know about the massive censorship, we don't want to talk on Facebook about these things. The only reason to go to the Facebook page is because it explains about what the support network is without any of those triggering keywords that the algorithms are looking for. So once we've signed up there, we can get put into a Telegram group. So we have a Outsider Support Network Telegram group where we can chat and we can talk and offer things to support each other. But the most important thing is coming on the live Zoom calls. And we've now got several hundred people in the Facebook group, and we've got quite a lot of people in the Telegram groups. And we want you to come on to the Zoom calls, because when we're on the Zoom calls, we can really feel each other, we can really support each other, and we have an opportunity to speak from the heart and connect. It's like, what is it that's really challenging for you at this moment in time? Hi, Teapot Pixie, you don't do Facebook, that's absolutely fine. You can join. We're going to have a Zoom meeting really soon. All we need is your email address. So if you can contact me and send me your email address, we'll put you down for the Zoom meeting, okay? So I can understand that. So I don't know what I said at that point. Sorry, it's a bit hard for me to keep up with the chat and everything. I'm far more, and Abigail says, I'm far more productive when Facebook bans me for speaking freely. Yeah, that's right. It's pointless trying to say anything on Facebook, isn't it? Because they're banning absolutely everything. But I do use it for posting people, like signposting people in certain directions. So that's good. So there's so many things that we can do, aren't there? There's so many things that we can do at this moment just to share the information and to share means of supporting each other and to build a new reality. Because what Pam Gregory is saying in her astrological reading is like building up towards the end of the month. There's this incredible tension and these squares that are really, that's really challenging. But at the same time, what they're doing is breaking down the old structures. So all these structures that are controlling our lives, the banking system, the corporations, the medical systems, all these systems are crumbling. And so the real work for us is to how we can build up. It's like, what are we doing in our life to build new organizations, new networks, new ways of helping people, new ways of doing things. And here at Healing Waters, I mean, to give an example, is we've got the retreat center, and we're giving work to a lot of therapists that come and offer amazing therapies to help people. We're not we're not telling people when they roll out this pass, we're not going to say, oh, sorry, you can't come in if you don't have we're not going to say that. We're not going to stop people coming in. We're not going to buy into this. We're not going to buy into the division. That we're completely present here for everybody that wants to come along, irrespective of what your belief is, irrespective of what you've chosen to do. Because we know that these the agenda that's been planned is all about divide and rule. It's all about destabilizing humanity, because they know when we join together that we're really strong. So how can we actually stay together and support each other. So by building our communities, we can do that. And that's what I'm doing with Healing Waters. It's like people come and they find out all sorts of information. They meet other people. So it's a retreat centre. It's an overnight accommodation centre. But when people come, they sit and they talk. And that's amazing. And I've got leaflets there. I've got newspapers there. And they all share what they're going through, talk to each other, and then they go away and they get more inspired. And they've had lovely treatments and support. And then alongside that, we have the Healing Gardens. So I think you, Teapot Pixie, you've been in the Healing Gardens, haven't you? So you've just said, keep planting seeds in the minds of, normies and live in a state of love as opposed to the opposite, a state of fear. Absolutely. How can we stay in a state of love? Yeah, how can we stay there? And that's very much what the Healing Gardens is about. It's like, whoever you are, whatever's going on, you're welcome to the Healing Gardens. And we grow food together, we support each other. There's lots of opportunities about building community. And we celebrate together. So we've been having bonfires, and in the Healing Spring, we've got a beautiful, beautiful Buddha there and a beautiful Mary, and we do prayers. So prayers are really important, aren't they? Saying our prayers, being in appreciation. It's really important. So we can all do these things. So Ina says, awakened pages on Facebook, directory of businesses, Awaken Aware. Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it, Ina? Awakened pages, and in Telegram as well. And that's the other thing, if you're not on Telegram at the moment, then you can follow me on Telegram. I've got a channel and I put out a lot of information that gets censored in other places. So you can really keep track of what's going on. And I think you'd be astounded if you're not on Telegram and you come on and you see how many groups are working for change. There's the common law groups. There's all sorts of medical groups, the UK alliances, the world alliances, justice groups. There's masses and masses of campaigning groups. So Teapot Pixie, the Healing Gardens is my favourite place on earth. Oh, bless you. Bless you, that's really beautiful. Yeah, it's interesting. I just had this vision a long time ago. The Healing Gardens has been going, I don't know, 11 or 12 years. And I started Healing Water Sanctuary, first of all, 15 years ago. And then, first of all, I had to get that up and running. And then I had the 6-acre field with the healing spring. And I would sit and lie and think, lie down. How can I sit and lie down? But you know what I mean? It's that I would just focus on what it was that I wanted to do in the gardens. And I'd visualize this huge circle with a tree in the middle. And that everything would be circular, and there would be, you know, all these people come in and participating and doing something together, growing together. And then I started it, and the beds are circular, aren't they? So we're about to take the Healing Gardens to a whole new level. So it's going to be some amazing things rolling out there in the next year. So what is it that you can do near where you are? So we have Saz. Hi. Thank you for calling in, Saz. Just managed to track you down as Facebook is playing silly buggers. Yay. Yeah, Facebook collapsed. Seemed to cut off Saz just as I started doing this. And yeah, I guess I didn't anticipate. So when I shared it on Messenger, I didn't think to put the YouTube link. But anytime, Saz, when I'm posting something on Facebook, any live videos, I'm also going live on YouTube and also on LinkedIn and also on Twitter. So fingers crossed that somehow or other that what I'm sharing will get out there on one of those channels. So I have those channels on those different platforms, so you can find me there. So Saz, we were just talking about how you're feeling at the moment, how you're coping with the intense energies. Pam Gregory said that October, she called it Red October. Well, she didn't name it Red October, but it's been named Red October by somebody, that it's going to be very intense. And the important thing is to keep our energies high. So what are you doing, Saz, to keep your energy high at the moment? Teapot Pixie says she's sharing the produce from her allotment. That's beautiful. There's always more in a garden, isn't there, than we can ever possibly eat? So that's the great thing about gardens. And the great thing about neighbours. Oh, bless. Yeah. That's why we have to keep our social networks together, isn't it? Like the neighborhood thing of sharing, like a cup of sugar. That's what it used to be like when I was a little girl. Your neighbor would come round. It's like you need some support, need some help. So, sticking together and helping each other. We didn't rely upon all these corporations and mobile phones and things. We had human connection together. So Saz, the point of this video is to talk about the Outsider Support Network, social network. So with what's going on at the moment, all the mind control programming, the propaganda coming out of the mouthpiece of the media. The media is the mouthpiece of the programming elite. So with all that's going on, it's causing a massive disruption in our families and in our circles of friends. So how can we actually stay connected, and how can we support each other? And if we can't, and we feel ourselves in a huge amount of pain, because human connection is the most important thing to human beings, isn't it? Because without a connection with our loved ones, then we feel very isolated and alone. So how can we support each other? Or how can we deal with the pain when our loved ones have decided to go along with the propaganda, the mind control, or they have actually been mind controlled and they can't see anything other than what the media is telling them? And knowing what's going on with the mass killing around the world, there's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people now really badly injured and actually have been killed by what's going on. I mean, that's so mind-boggling. We can hardly... how can we even speak about it? It's like a total it's like, how do you get your head around that that's happening? And then our friends and families are just acting as like nothing is going on, or they're not even seeing it. We're dealing with global psychosis. So we're dealing with a pandemic of mental health, aren't we? That people's minds have been deliberately screwed up. So how do we deal with the pain of that? So that's the reason why we set up the Outsider Support Network, that you can join up by going to Facebook. There's the Outsider Support Network group on Facebook. You can join up, and we have a call that's happening, a Zoom call that's happening about every 2 weeks, and we find out who wants to come on that call by the people that join the Facebook group. And from the Facebook group, we can give you a link to Telegram, which is a closed private group that you can then speak on. So when you join up through Facebook, you have to answer 3 questions so that we keep it secure. And we're not talking on Facebook because Facebook bans people. Facebook shuts people down if we say the wrong thing. So we're just keeping it open, and we're not putting any of those triggering words that get the algorithms on there, that the algorithms can pick up. So we're not saying any of the words that begin with those certain letters. We're just talking about how we can connect up and support each other. So you join up on there by answering the 3 questions. Then we contact you and we privately, and we send you the link to the Telegram group. And then from the Telegram group, we can then publicize our Zoom calls. So we can send you, each one of you that want to come on the Zoom call, a private link to the Zoom call so that you have the opportunity to talk about how you're feeling. Because I work as a trauma therapist. I hear all the time how distressing it is for people when they can't actually talk about what's going on. So our next Zoom call is scheduled in 2 weeks' time, and we will send you the date of that. Very soon we're going to put it in the private Facebook group, and we're going to put it in the Telegram group. So Saz says, practicing Qigong and of course my sounds for health and happiness, meeting with awakened friends, working daily in nature, drinking fresh ginger and turmeric every day, weekly shamanic breathing. Yeah, that's really important, isn't it, Saz? So you're working really hard to resource yourself all the time. So Teapot Pixie wants to know what Qigong is. So perhaps, Saz, you can share that to Teapot Pixie. So when people come to me for trauma healing, the thing I focus on first of all is like, what do you need to do with your physical body to give you pleasurable sensory information? Because when we receive pleasurable sensory information, then that overrides the stress in terms of what's happening in the primitive brain that's then making us flood our bodies with adrenaline. So we're turning off that activation. We're learning how to regulate our nervous system. And when we do that, when we learn how to regulate our nervous system, we're not just driven by the triggers that are happening. Just like Facebook closes you down because there's a word that's triggering, our own brains get closed down when we come across experiences that are triggering. So if we keep up our mental and physical well-being by resourcing ourselves, like Saz does with the Qigong and the turmeric and ginger water, if we can keep our bodies in a really, really good top-level state of health, then our immune system stays strong, that our stress levels go down, and we're far more able to be in social connection with each other. Because when we're stressed, then we actually lose social connection. Our social nervous system turns off, and we feel very, very isolated. Oh, thank you, Teapot Pixie. Move in the chair from the door. Yes, you did come in last time, didn't you? But I welcomed you in. So yes, I did put the chair back there out of the way. So yes, hope she reads that one, Abigail. Okay. Yes, so the important thing is with stress levels is learning how to regulate the nervous system. So having connection with each other as well is very, very important. So having this opportunity on the live Zoom calls to share what's troubling us and to get a fresh input, to feel really listened to, and somebody else that's empathic and they understand what you're going through is really, really helpful. So yeah, do join up, do go to the Facebook group and join up, answer those questions and join up, and we'll send you the link to the Telegram and the link for the Zoom call. So there's quite a lot of people in the Telegram group and quite a lot of people on the Facebook group, but the next step is to come onto the Zoom calls. At the moment we have about 20 people that come on. And what we do is we divide up the call so people can sit in different rooms together. We divide people up into 3 or 4 people in a room, and then we have an opportunity for sharing, and then we come back together as one big group and share the key points that people are being stressed about at the moment, or what's happening, because things are going at a very fast pace at the moment, isn't it? Like the government and the puppet masters of the government are pressurizing us and cracking down very quickly. It's getting very intense. So we need to keep up to speed with what's going on. And above all, we need to protect our children right now. So Saz says, flowing movements, working with alternative masculine and feminine energy to move around the organs and body, lots of breath work. Ah, Therese, you're here. That's great, Therese, but you haven't managed to come on a Zoom call yet. It would be really great, Therese, if you could come on a Zoom call, because you've got so much to share about what's going on for you. I know you've been going through a lot of challenges right now, and you would get a lot of support as well. So you were also on my trauma skills training. So I just want to kind of flag that up, that we are offering a new trauma skills training soon, the 4th and 5th of December. We have some places still open for the trauma skills training. So I put the link for that underneath here, and that's really going to help people tremendously. It's really changed people's lives. Learning how to regulate your nervous system, learning how to co-regulate, how to build compassion for yourself and others, understanding about the brain, what happens in the brain and in the nervous system, learning about boundaries, putting good, strong boundaries in place. We look at pre and perinatal trauma, learning about how to reprogram that, what it is and how to reprogram it. Developmental trauma, about what happened in childhood and how we actually try to get over our developmental trauma by building alternative behavior patterns that perhaps don't serve us. So we look at how we can change that. So it's a very interesting training that leads on into a much deeper advanced training as well, that then you can help others. You can become trauma informed and have that as trauma informed on your own healing business, or your own, whatever it is you do with people, that you're a trauma informed practitioner. That's after you've done the advanced training. So Saz says, coming together with like-minded people and sharing what is going on is vital for my sanity. Absolutely, we need to feel this sense of being connected to other people, don't we? This sense of rapport, this sense of we're all on the same page, we're part of the same tribe. I know that's really working for me here at Healing Waters and the Sanctuary, because a lot of people, particularly in the gardens, are all on the same page. We're all supporting each other and sharing our understanding about things. So Therese says, our numbers are growing. I think that's really true, isn't it, Therese? That our numbers are massively growing now, that we're you know, we've got a huge percentage of people now that are awake, what we're saying, awake. They know what's going on and they're working together to build new communities. So it's critical. So when that gets to a certain point, this totalitarian state that we're presently finding ourselves in globally, that's going to fall, isn't it? The psychologist that I was talking about, that I'd listened to an interview with him, he said that it's a built-in weakness in totalitarian states, that they eventually implode into themselves because they get crazier and crazier. There's so much insanity there, and they try so hard to absolutely crush people that there gets a point when people just don't believe in it anymore, and they start waking up and forming new societies, a new society. Yeah, so we can't just stop what's going on with a totalitarian state, but alongside it, we can totally build something new and different. And when it gets to that kind of critical mass, then the totalitarianism is going to fall. It's like the mainstream media now, although they're what the kind of sleeping people go to, There's far more people now watching the alternative media than the mainstream media. I mean, isn't that incredible? It's like people are actively looking. So there's all sorts of channels now that you can search out information. So we know that Facebook censors things. We know that YouTube censors and Twitter censors and LinkedIn and Instagram, they're all censoring information. But you can go to Parler, you can go to MeWe, you can go to Telegram, you can go to BitChute, and there are others. There's lots of other channels, and people that have got important things to say, that's where they're putting their information now. So we, like the totalitarian puppet masters, they're just losing control. And that's another reason why everything's coming so heavy at this moment, because they know they're losing control. So the important thing is also to, just before I talk about this next point, Saz says that she chanted a mantra, I release control and surrender to the flow of love, that you will heal me. That's really beautiful, Saz. That's really, really beautiful. Yeah. So Abigail says, I think Australia is totally lost in madness. And Teapot Pixie says, Australia's the testing ground for the New World Order. Yeah. Yeah, it's absolutely crazy in Australia right now. But people are really stepping up there. Yeah. People are really stepping up. So it's just to have compassion as well for all those people who are suffering right now, who are in the grips of this mind control. I mean, that health minister in Australia, I don't know what his name is, I can never remember names, but he's utterly crazy. Like, you will do it, you have to do it. You can't get out of it, you will lose your jobs. It's as simple as that. Well, you know, they can take our jobs. We can make new jobs, new businesses. Yeah. So this pressure is amazing because it's actually shifting human consciousness at this point in time. And we've already seen that a lot of the stuff that's being rolled out, the stuff in the hospitals, it's not necessarily helpful. It can be even dangerous these days going into a hospital. And we've got lots and lots of other things, other types of healing happening that the corporations crushed for a long time, but now that they're making it so difficult, this healing is really coming in to its own. I mean, it's the healing that we've done for generations, isn't it? All that wisdom from generations. Now we have an opportunity again. So 3 government resignations in Australia this week. Amazing. Yeah, it's a huge amount happening. And it's complex. We don't necessarily know everything that's going on and why it's going on, because there's all this other stuff that hasn't even been mentioned yet. All the SRA stuff, for instance, and the involvement of government officials in that. And, you know, the guy with the island that flew people out to that island, all those government officials and people. I think, was it Tony Blair I heard the other day is also close friends there and has been going out to this island. And the laptop of a certain person that's the son of the president, you know, all the information on that laptop, all this stuff is coming to light. This is why more and more we need to support each other and stand up, because there's going to be a lot of people that are really in a terrible state of shock when they finally get what's going on. It's going to be really, really hard for them. So how can we support them? When people wake up and they see the horror that's unfolding around them, how can we support them? Yeah, it's really going to be a big thing. So Ina says, Carl Vernon, just said on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp are all down. Wow. That's interesting. Amazing. What's going on? Teapot Pixie says, please supplement with vitamin D3 this winter. Look after yourselves. Yeah. So the other thing that's coming out at the moment, oh, Louise. Hi, Louise. So good that you're here. I'm so glad you're on the call. So Louise is saying Canada is getting really draconian at the moment. Emergency laws are being passed in Alberta to allow season of property, land, crops and livestock under emergency situations. Yeah, I saw that as well. And I heard that it was part of the whole Operation Lockstep, which was created, was it by the Rockefellers? Like this was created back a long time ago, the planning for the big scam that's been rolled out on us, and they described how they were going to roll this all out. So that's happening in Canada, and these emergency laws are going to be kicking in other places as well, other countries. Saz says, please do not capitulate to this insanity. Hang on in there. There's a new age dawning. The die is cast, one of liberation here at last. Absolutely, Saz. That's so absolutely right, which is why, above all things, we have to keep our vibration high, isn't it? Because when we go underneath all these levels of what we're talking about here, and like the island that people have been flying out to, and this abuse that's been happening to our children, and then we go down another level, down, you know, literally underground, with what's been happening with the military bases underground and the incredible carnage of our children there. I mean, when that comes out, and then understanding, you know, like who created that, what created that, and how this energy is actually feeding off our own energy. Like when we're put in a negative state, how much those negative energies of anger and fear, they're actually food for those dark forces, whoever those forces are, whether they're off-planet beings or whatever. I mean, I don't know that we really know, but there's lots of information going around about it, talking about it on these alternative channels. So those forces, those beings or whatever, feed off our energy. So the more we go into this fear, the more we go with, you know, what they're trying. You know, they're trying to make us distressed. They're trying to make things fall apart in our lives. They're trying to separate us. So the more we build connection and stay in a high vibration, then the less they're going to manage that. So let's see what else we've got here. I'm just going to share these. So yes, Teapot Pixie, that's all owned by Facebook, those other channels, aren't they? Yeah. And Monsanto want to stop organic crops. Yeah, so we've been poisoned. Our food's been poisoned. Our water's been poisoned. The air's been poisoned. Our minds are being poisoned. Our children's minds are being poisoned. But we are going to rise above with positive vibrations. We still have flowers. We still have amazing nature around us. We still have wonderful friends. Abigail says, I will not comply. Absolutely, I will not comply either. Under no circumstances will I ever, ever comply. Never. You know, there's a lot at stake here. This isn't just my life and my one lifetime. There are many lifetimes. Many incarnations. This has been going on for a very, very long time. There are millions of people involved here. It's important to stand up against evil. This is a battle, a war between light and evil, the dark and the light. Teapot Pixie says, oh right, yes, Monsanto, owned by the Germans. I mean, this is what it all comes down to, isn't it? That all this mind control. The activities at the end of the last World War where we thought we'd conquered the Nazis, but in fact all that happened is that they went off to America as part of that whole mind control program, working with the CIA. There's so much evidence there now talking about that, and how the amazing Polly has done all the research. You can find her on BitChute. So if you listen to her research, she's very, very, very particular in the work she does. You know, she's very detailed, and she tracks all kinds of documentation and the connections between different people and the conflicts of interest. So she's researched all that, how these Nazis went to America and started working in the universities and set up mind control programs, and how that worked together with the CIA, and how the Behavioral Insights team, the SAGE team in the UK, is using the methodology that was developed by the CIA and the MK Ultra programs. So the more you research, the more you'll see how all this links in, and the importance for us to stay sane, to keep our vibrations high, to resource ourselves, to stay in connection with each other, to do everything that we can to support each other and not be food for these dark forces. When we go into these negative energies, we become food for the dark forces. Yeah? So we're not food. We're not going to be food for them. I'm not going to be food. I'm going to keep shining the light. So let's just see what else has been shared here with Louise, I agree that there is a collective psychosis happening, and many people are not able to think straight due to cognitive dissonance. Compassion is essential for everyone. Yeah, and Amazing Polly also talked about this. When we're faced with psychosis, we don't stop people being psychotic by going along with it. We have to represent sanity. We have to stay sane. That's the only way we're going to come out of psychosis, isn't it? So there's this global psychosis going on. And Teapot Pixie says there's never been a more important time to grow your own food. Absolutely. And it's very rewarding, isn't it? It's really rewarding. I've been growing my own food since I was in my early 20s. My first memories as a small child were being out in the garden with my grandfather, learning how to grow food. So Saz says, hang on, excuse me. Absolutely, although a challenge with what is going on, some of it is horrific, but it has been going on for thousands of years, but now it's being uncovered, revealed, and a light is being shone on it. Yeah, so there's so many levels to this, isn't there, Saz? And it has been going on for thousands of years, and that's some of the research that you will get when you go onto these channels about how this goes back. There's all the secret societies involved in it, and how they've predated on humanity for thousands of years. So we have an incredible opportunity now to actually break free. I mean, isn't that amazing? And it all relies upon you each standing in your truth, standing in your sovereignty, standing in these higher vibrations, like not allowing yourself to be crushed. Yeah, even though there are really, really challenging things going on, how can we just stay in this high vibration and not be crushed? So, oh, that's lovely, Abigail. You're planting everything for your family. Yeah. So here, if you came to my kitchen at the moment, it's absolutely stacked up with boxes of apples, and we're got a huge pan of chutney on the go. A big pan of damson jelly on the go. What else have I got? The dehydrator's going, and I've got rose hips in the dehydrator, and I've got damsons in the dehydrator, lots of herbs, tons of things. And I just share it with people. When people come to visit, then I share it. So Teapot Pixie says, wonderful, Abigail. And she's breaking free from the cabal, regardless, yes. And Louise says, plant some winter onions, corn, salad leaves, winter spinach, and chard, which keep going through the winter. Absolutely. So you know what, yesterday I bought lots of onion sets, red onion sets and the Japanese onion sets. So they're going to be planted out in the garden soon. And broad beans, Louise. Broad beans are a great overwinter crop. So we planted up a huge bed in the Healing Gardens because we've got, oh my goodness me, we're over an hour, we're going over an hour. So in the Healing Gardens, we've got 3 huge circles that are 12 meters across, and each circle has got 12 growing beds. So it's 36 growing beds we've got all together, as well as the orchards, as well as the polytunnel, and the little beautiful little clay oven that the children made where we can cook food. So if you want to be involved in the gardens, this is a model that any one of us can copy. So the model is that people join the gardens for £2.50 a month, and then they come and garden whenever they want. And when they garden, they take food away. So we're working together. That income pays for the tools, pays for the seeds, pays for the upkeep of the gardens, and things like netting for the cabbages and things like that. And everybody gets to come together and talk and keep their mental health levels high. So that's a wonderful model. But you could do that same model around other things like sewing groups, couldn't you? Or knitting groups, or I don't know, cooking groups, all sorts of things. It's like, what is it that you're interested in that you can do, that you can create a group around? And Louise says she has. Abigail says, I've winter kale and cabbages already in my, your pumpkins are in already. Yeah, we're just harvesting our pumpkins. Got quite a lot. So that's great, Abigail, enjoy. And Louise says, I have 3 types of kale and cabbages and leeks and some squashes and plenty of potatoes, onions and shallots. We will be fine. Indeed, we'll be fine. So my lovely friends, thank you for being on this call with me. I was a bit like, oh my God, how am I going to do this call on my own? Thank you. Jill couldn't make it on the call. She was feeling a bit unwell. And I didn't learn until just this afternoon that was the case. So thank you for sharing everything with me. And if you can, please share this video. It would be great that more people saw about the Outsider Support Network so that we can get more people join. Our Zoom calls, we have more members on, we can help more people. And maybe, again, this is a model that can be copied out, because we have to work in all sorts of different ways to build community. So this is one way to build community. The stand in the parks are another way of building community. Maybe the rallies are, maybe the common law groups are ways of building community. So lots of ways of building community. So I'm going to go now. On Wednesday, I'm going to do my normal Elders Wisdom call, and Wednesday's the new moon. So if you'd like to join me on Wednesday at 5 o'clock as well, and I'm not quite sure who of my advance, the Council of Elders, who from that group is joining me on Wednesday, but hopefully somebody will. If not, I'll have to do it on my own again. But, I'm getting the confidence, little by little, I'm getting the confidence to do these things. Do you know, it took me 2 years to persuade myself to do a Facebook Live video, because it's like, oh my God, I can't do that. But we can all do it. We've all got something that we can share, or something that we can do. Like, we're all unique beings, and we all have gifts to share. So lots of love to you all. Thank you so much. It's lovely to share this time with you. Be well. Have a lovely evening. Have a really enjoyable evening. And remember, keep your vibration high. Oh, bless you. Thanks, Saz. Thank you, everyone. Oh, hang on, there's one last. Even the burning of the books held in the library at Alexandria in Egypt of all the esoteric and healing knowledge which was passed down through the initiates in the mystery schools. Yeah, that's important. Thank you, Therese. Lots of love to you, my dearest. I'm so glad you're well. Lots of love. Bye for now. Bye.